Assalamualaikum.
Spent all of our time outside all day.
Hello,
doing whatever
Assalamualaikum.
we like our way. Didn't need
No, the fun is not going to end here. Let's watch this.
Hey, yeah, I'm a bad boy doing good things. Got a lemonade with chicken wings. With a bad bitch, and she quite thick. So I might just pop myself a chain tonight. Slim shawty with a tank top. I'ma let her munch it on my cake pop. Yeah, young Bill make it his drop. So I might just take your woman for a night.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Fikri Syamil bin Zaman from class JBA 1045B. And today, I would like to present on fundamental analysis. First of all, I would like to state the meaning of fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis is a method of calculating the intrinsic value of a security by analyzing economy and financial variables that are related. Fundamental analysis research everything that can impact the importance of protection. The macroeconomic factors such as the state of the economy and condition of the market to microeconomic factors such as the management efficiency of the business. There are 4 requirements on conducting a fundamental analysis. The first requirement is the EPS must be positive. EPS means earning per share, which is calculated as a company profit divided by the outstanding share of its common stock. Based on the report, it showed that all the company chosen in the report shows a positive earning per share. One of the example is Aeon Credit Service, which the EPS is 81.72. Another requirement is ROE need to be more than 10%. ROE, which stands for return on equity, is financial performance metric measured by dividing net profits by the equity of shareholders. Since the equity of the shareholders equals the asset of a corporation minus its debt, the return on net asset is considered to be ROE. In relation to stockholders' equity, ROE is considered an indicator of a corporation profitability. All the company chosen by our group shows ROE more than 10%, which Aeon company shows 13.53 as an example. To perform a fundamental analysis, we also need to choose different industry, which as we can see from our report, all of the company chosen by our group is from the different sector. Aeon Credit Service is financial service. Dufu Technology Corp is an industrial products and service for our prime example. The company also requires show an uptrend in order to analyze the company performance. This can be seen in all of our company annual report, which shows an uptrend in their financial report. That's all from me on fundamental analysis. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatina Akira binti Muhammad Saidi. So for my part, I'm going to explain the security analysis. So in security analysis, there are 4 things or 4 components that we need to look out for before choosing a company. So the first one is the rate of return. So a rate of return is the net gain or loss of an investment over a specified time period, expressed as a percentage of the investment's initial cost. So when calculating the rate of return, we are determining the percentage change from the beginning of the period until the end. So factors that influence rate of return include the mix of assets, the business's strategy and operations, the state of the economy, the political stability, and also the fiscal policy and regulations. So the higher the rate of return, the greater the performance of a company is. So the second one is average return. So average return is a mathematical average of a sequence of returns that have accrued over time. So in its simplest term, average return is actually the total return over a time period divided by the number of periods. So average return tells an investor or an analyst what returns of a stock or a security have been in the past, or what returns of a portfolio of the companies are, and it is to measure the company's fund long-term performance. So the third one is standard deviation and also variance. Standard deviation is one of the key methods that analysts, portfolio managers, and also advisors use to determine the risk. So when the group of numbers is further from the mean, it means that the investment is a greater risk for a potential purchaser and vice versa. So for analysts and also traders, these two concepts are very important as they are used to measure security and also market volatility, which in turn plays a very big role in creating a profitable trading strategy. Last but not least is the coefficient of variation. So it allows investors to determine how much volatility or risk is assumed in comparison to the amount of the return expected from the investment. So a risk-averse investors may look into an asset with a historically low degree of volatility, and conversely, risk-seeking investors may look into an asset with a historically high degree of volatility in relative to the return in relation to the overall market and also industry. So that's all from me. Now I'm going to pass to my friend Zulaika to explain about the portfolio analysis.
After we calculate in the security analysis, now we go to the portfolio analysis. In portfolio analysis, we should choose the best stock to include in our portfolio. Based on this slide, the table shows of average each stock of security analysis. So, how to choose the 3 best stock? First, we need to identify the standard deviation and coefficient variation of each stock. We need to choose the highest standard deviation and the lower coefficient of variation. Let's see overall of each stock which one have higher standard deviation and the lower of CV. We can see that standard deviation for Dufu Technology Corporation Berhad is higher than other stock, which is 39.0577. Then covariance for Dufu is smaller than other stock, which is 0.4035. Next, let's see for CSC Steel Holdings. They have higher standard deviation with other stock. CSC covariance also higher than other stock, which is 4.7693. Why we not choose CSC stock for our portfolio? Because this stock have higher CV. It is more than 1.0. Not only that, look at average return for CSC, which is 7.8963. It is lower return than other stock. So we won't invest the stock with low risk and higher return. After we identify all of each stock, so we decide to choose Dufu, Amanah Raya, and Ion Credit Services as our portfolio because they have low risk and high return. Next, we go to calculation for covariance of return. Covariance of return is an absolute measure of the extent to which two assets move together over time. After we do calculation, we get that covariance of return for Dufu Amanah Raya stock is 550.5863, while for Dufu Ion Credit Services stock is 578.1201, and Amanah Raya Ion Credit Services stock is 24.0302. These 3 stocks shows that they are positive covariance, where are the two security or stock is moved together with the same direction. Next, we go to calculation for correlation coefficient. This is to measure the relationship between the stock. Correlation coefficient for Dufu Amanah Raya stock is 2.1966, which is larger more than positive 1.0. this stock is perfectly positively correlated. This might help the weak potential diversification of risks. Next, for Dufu Ion Credit Services and Amanah Ion Credit Services, they get 0.9198 and 0.24 at 5 respectively. This can reduce the overall variability of return risks. With the lower correlation between asset return, the greater the potential diversification of risks, which is minimize the risk. And the last part for calculation portfolio analysis is portfolio return and portfolio risk. As we can see that portfolio return, we get 48.8606% and the portfolio risk is 22.9975%, which is the return is higher than risk.
The most widely used method for reviewing the financial statement is preparing the comparative analysis. Before we go further into that, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Raja Maisara Ariana Zulkarnain from the class JBA 1145B. My part is to explain on our FIN377 group assignment on comparative analysis. This approach evaluates a company's performance and financial status by analyzing financial statements for 2 or more periods of time. After we have collected the important data of the selected stock, we could measure the risk and return by using Markowitz model. 48.8606% will be the return of the portfolio, meanwhile 22.997% is the portfolio's risk. We move on to the performance between selected portfolio risk and return with KLCI risk and return. For the portfolio return section, ours are 48.8606, way much higher than KLCI, which is only -2.2926. As we all know, nowadays investors are seeking for opportunities to gain higher returns. In this case, our portfolio's output is the best, as its return is higher than the KLCI's. In addition, it also means that we have a lower cost compute because of the better returns we have. For the portfolio's risk carried out by the standard deviation, ours are 22.9975, which is higher compared to the KLCI with only 5.1273. For our portfolio in comparison, the coefficient of variance is 0.4707 and a lot smaller than the KLCI with -2.2364. As we all know, the smaller the value of the coefficient of variances is, the more reliable the approximation is. In conclusion, the performance for our portfolio is better than the performance of KLCI as compared from the less return from KLCI. As their risk is high, we can achieve high return with minimum risk. Our portfolio outperforms the KLCI. The best security against a financial crisis is a diversified portfolio. It also implies that our portfolio means that we are a risk taker who prefers to take a high risk for a higher potential return. And that is the wrap for our FIN377 group presentation. Thank you, Madam Rohaniza Matlazan, for everything that you have taught us from the basic to till now. And thank you so much for all the sacrifices that you made.